Well, hello, good afternoon. This is Dr. Stephen Evans. I am the publisher and editor-in-chief of Outclick Magazine here in South Florida. Today, we're very pleased and excited to have Craig Smith, president of Source Events, also here in South Florida. Craig, tell us a little bit about yourself and Source Events.
Well, first of all, Stephen, thank you for this opportunity to do this interview and to share a little bit about Source Events and how we get started. And I just want to also thank you we've been partners of Outclick for the last few years, and I know you and your partner Arthur have joined us on several of our events. So thank you for your support and for everything that you're doing for our community. I know it's making a big difference for everybody. So Source Events, it's a dream company, and it was created in quite a different way than most travel companies. As I might have told you before, I was previously a lawyer, in San Francisco, and I wanted to follow my dream of creating events and making a difference in our LGBT community. So I moved to South Beach back in 1997 and became the first director of events of the Winter Party. And over the years, we grew it into a large festival, 5,000 at the beach party, and they produced their annual dinner. And what happened during that period of time, I started working with a life coach. Her name was Linda, and she was very intuitive, and she was always encouraging me to go for the next dream. And at some point, she asked me that question. She said, what's your next dream? If you could do anything in the world, what would that be? And so I closed my eyes, and what I envisioned is taking the most positive aspects of the celebrations we were producing for the LGBT community and going around the world and creating adventures around the world. And so we decided to start with one sailing adventure. And so we started with a Windjammer cruise back in 2003, and we timed it for a full moon. We timed it for a celestial event for lunar eclipse. We started off really with one house party at a friend's house in our backyard with 70 passengers. And I have to say, over the last 17 years since that dream has grown, and now we've traveled all over the world to almost every continent. We've grown into more luxury cruises and adventures. Just in the last year, we had our first Antarctica voyage in January, which was incredible, like going to another planet. We had a cruise to Iceland. We've done that the last 3 years. We had a trip to Israel. We had a Greek island cruise on a tall sailing ship. So what I would say, one of the things that makes us unique is we're an experience company more than just about creating usual tours. And every time that we do events and cruises, we're looking for a way to connect more intimately with the local culture, with nature, and with each other. Most of our cruises are on tall sailing ships, and there's just something special about being on a ship with 150 to 300 really friends, like a travel family that's developed over the years. There's just something wonderful about that. There's something magical about going on those voyages. And there's just something great about exploring trips to Africa, which is one of our specialties, and safaris, and having cocktails at sunset, sundowners, in the evening. So I'd say from that one magical cruise in 2003, this has gone beyond anything that I really hoped or imagined at that time. And now we do about 8 adventures a year and have about 1,000 guests a year traveling all over the world.
So I tell people I'm looking away because I've got 2 screens. So anybody that's joining us, share to your page and share to any appropriate travel groups. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not ignoring people. I'm actually sharing it to my personal page. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm playing controller and interviewer at the same time. If you're able to do that and share, it would really be helpful. So I've actually been on 3 Source Events trips. I've been on the Greece cruise that was last year. It was phenomenal, international trip. It was so amazing on that sailing clipper ship. There was, how many passengers were on that ship?
We had 160 passengers on the Star Flyer. It's been one of our most popular ships. We've done that several times. We've done their sister ship, the Royal Clipper, for 220. That was in late August to Athens, Santorini, all over the world.
And we went to the Parthenon, and you stood where they created, and they stood and thought about how they were going to create things, and it was almost like being on a movie set and seeing where that was, and driving around. The trip was amazing. I mean, just the people, the food, and you go on them, and you are there with the people. One of the things that impresses me so much is how much pride you take, not only in the business, but in every single trip. You make sure every one of your clients and customers has a quality vacation. You take a lot of pride in that. That's really amazing.
We do. It's really, and I have to say, it's like, as you've been on several of our trips, it's really a travel family. There's always new people coming into the fold, but people that come back again and again. So I think that's also one of the things. You can go on any source event and you're already going to have friends. Before every trip, we start a private Facebook group so everybody can meet everybody that's going, and get reacquainted with people they've met and meet new friends. And people stay in touch. People have made lifelong friendships. People have met that have gotten married, in the future. So that's been like one of the most rewarding aspects of this.
And you take care of every single detail. The whole trip was so well thought out. It was so nice to go and have everything thought out and everything planned out. Not being an experienced international traveler myself, it was so comforting to go with a company like yours that really took care of us. And I really appreciated that too.
Well, I think our background in event planning has been a big help. There are source events, because having planned, large international events, around the world, has given us that experience to like really work with a team of talented operators, internationally, and we really focus on all the details, from what it's like from the moment that you arrive on the airport, checking into our host hotel, to private tours, and just a lot of special surprises along the way.
And you have such a variety of trips, both land and cruises, and you've got a lot of different things for people to try, and such a variety of locations for people to experience.
Yeah, we do. I think, it's interesting. One of the ways that we've grown, it's really not just my vision and my partner Raphael's. It's really our travelers. Every cruise we do, we have travel talks, and we announce our destinations for next year. But the most important aspect is listening, because you never know where a suggestion is going to come up. Iceland came up as a suggestion from one of our passengers, and then we did that for the next 3 years. One cruise, a suggestion came up for Antarctica, and as I said earlier this year, we traveled with 38 guests to Antarctica. So I love it. We're always asking people what's their dream, where would they like to travel to, how would they like to travel, and we ask that in our surveys, and we ask that of our guests on our trip. So yeah, we love making people happy.
And I've noticed that you listen to your clients. You're continually listening and working not only for travel destinations, but what people want in their vacation experiences. I noticed that about you. That's amazing.
Well, thank you. I think that's been a big part of our success, and growth over the years is really listening to our guests, and even sometimes during the trip ideas come up, like special suggestions for music or things that they want to do. So we're always open. So there's a lot of different LGBT travel companies of all sizes. What are some things that make Source Events unique? Well, some of them I think we spoke about already. I think it's the fact that like we've started with friends and it's grown out from there. So I think there's just a high degree of intimacy on our trips. Even the biggest cruises that we do on the Windstar ships and Royal Clipper have been no bigger than like 300 guests. So any cruise you go on, you're not going usually on a big ship with thousands of guests. So I think that intimacy, the sense of connectedness, listening to our guests and what they desire, and then also that like the specialty that we've developed in tall ship sailings, the expertise with that, and we've just partnered with great cruise lines. We've partnered with Windstar, which is one of the leaders in tall ship luxury cruising, with Star Clippers. We've done river cruises with Avalon. We've partnered locally when we've done the Pride cruise with Royal Caribbean, Norwegian. So we just have great relationships with great travel partners, and they're always looking to help us, create the best possible experience for our guests. So I think that's, what makes us different.
The Greek Isles cruise, we had the entire ship, and then I was on the Pride cruise twice, and we had part of a ship. So it was two different experiences, and I got to go to Cuba and see Cuba, and that was so much fun. We rode in the old-fashioned cars, and saw the Cuban culture. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to do that and experience that. You all put together a great trip for that as well.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting that all our trips had been international outside of Miami. And then when Miami Beach Pride started in 2009, we realized that why don't we have a Pride cruise? We're in the cruise capital. So, we met with the leaders of Pride at that point, Cindy Brown and Steve Atkins, and we launched the first Pride cruise. And we've generally had 100 to 200 guests on this. It's a group on a cruise. It's cruising. It's cruising to make a difference. A portion of the proceeds would go back to Miami Beach Pride and support them. And it would just allow visitors that were traveling in to Miami Beach to extend their vacation, and go to the Caribbean. One of our dreams has always been to go to Cuba since I moved to Miami, and that became possible a couple of years ago. And we were the first gay cruise to go from Miami to Cuba. We were met by press there. It was covered locally by Channel 10 and internationally. Yeah, we've just been at the forefront in that way. And unfortunately now, as you know, there's no cruises to Cuba at this point. But the minute that they do open up cruising to Cuba, we'll certainly do it again. So it's a life-changing trip.
Well, I think that's part of the fun of going to your website is thinking, gosh, out of all these places, where would I go next? They're just so unique and they're so fun. There's just a lot of great opportunities that you've got for people. So it's really exciting to think all the fun places to go. How has the whole COVID-19 obviously impacted you quite a bit? If you want to talk about some of the things you've got coming and planning, because this is a huge impact on the travel world.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, this has been something that was, completely unforeseeable, and it's been, disruptive to everybody's lives, not just the travel industry. But we're optimistic. I see, some positive, trends right now. I think that, like, for one thing, we've seen that cruise bookings and travel for 2021 has been very strong. We've seen to this point, we're expecting Windstar Cruises to launch their cruises again on July 1st. And our next cruise that's planned is in Tahiti in October. We're very optimistic of that. There's been only 50 COVID cases in Tahiti. They just announced today no more cases. And so it's completely contained there. It's one of the trends we feel in the future of travel, especially in the next year, is going to be going to places that are more intimate, more where there's a greater connection of nature, not going to the big cities, places that there's a lower risk, that are less densely populated. Tahiti certainly is that. And so our cruise is in October, and most of the projections are that by August, September, October, travel is going to resume. And of course, we're going on a small ship with just 70 cabins, not on a big ship. So we're very confident of our Tahiti cruise. We don't have many cabins on it left. Everybody has stayed on board. We haven't had any cancellations. So we do still have some room on that. So people should get in touch with us if their dream is Tahiti, or if they haven't been able to do a spring or summer trip, but they're ready to travel in the fall, they should see that. The other thing we're seeing is, more lenient cancellation terms with us and the whole travel industry. So being able to cruise with confidence, so that, allowing people to cancel closer in and receive, travel credits if for any reason that cruise can't go, because nobody has a crystal ball to know exactly what the future holds. But we want the people to be able to cruise with confidence, whether that be in 21 nor in 20. Our other trips are also confirmed for 20. We have a trip on the Venice Simplon Orient Express from Venice to Paris. That's the first time that Belmond Orient Express has taken the whole train for the LGBT community. I've been one of the founding members of their advisory board. They're very committed to our community and to making a difference. Just a few cabins left on that train. That's going to be confirmed for sure. I mean, it's confirmed now, but by July 1st, they're going to announce that everything is going forward. And we expect that Italy is going to be one of the earlier countries to open up in Europe, because it was hit earlier on. So we're very optimistic about that. Venice to Paris, that's November 7th through 9th, with some host hotel in Paris. And then we also, we've timed this year's trip to Egypt on December 1st, Nile River Cruise into Egypt, to coincide with the opening of the new Egyptian Museum, which is the largest ever museum. It's a $1 billion project. It's the largest museum devoted to one culture, and it's being built right overlooking the Great Pyramids of Giza. So this is going to allow us to see antiquities that we've never seen before, King Tut and other and others there. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be December 1st through 10th. And then we have a lot of great adventures planned for next year that we're going to be announcing in the next month or two. A lot of them with our partner Belmont around the world, everything from Southeast Asia to Vietnam and Cambodia, to going back to Africa and Botswana, to India, which was one of the most popular destinations, and Australia for Sydney Mardi Gras. I mean, that's just a few of what we're offering next year. But I'd say that at this point, we don't have any trips planned for this summer, but we are really confident about Tahiti and the Orient Express and Egypt.
For me, we'll get that fixed. Sorry about that. Do you still hear that? Okay.
I can hear you now.
Still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's try try muting your computer. You plug me back in here.
It's always the technical things with these conversations.
It is. It's always something technical. Someone said we've gone back to high school AV class trying to get everything duct taped together.
Right.
But we'll make the best of it. But the history that you will see on your trips, they are a great vacation. But I wasn't prepared for how much history I was going to get to experience. That was one of the just most fascinating things of the history and the other cultures. That was a new experience for me. I needed to have studied up more. It was so amazing to see the culture and the history of what you're going to experience on your vacations. It's really amazing to see. If you've not traveled internationally like that, it's really a phenomenal addition to just the vacation experience. And you are so versed in not only that particular country and culture, but in international travel. You've got your pulse on what to do and how to handle things. And every time I talk to you, you're up to date on every single country and travel regulation. And so that's very impressive. I've enjoyed working with you in this partnership. So keep it up. I think there's a lot of great things coming. So.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's our pleasure to do that. And I think that, especially in this, it's a rapidly changing world. It's changing before our eyes right now. So, especially in these times of uncertainty, it's really important to be up in the news. What we're dealing with is a global event. So we need to know what's going on in every country we're traveling to and in neighboring countries. And any changes regarding travel, restrictions, advisories, we always do that. And also, we do always recommend, we offer travel insurance, and we do offer that. And that often makes a difference for passengers. It can give them confidence and protection. If there's any reason something needs to be changed along the way, or if somebody's ill and can't travel, or something happens overseas, it's always good to have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When do you think the travel will really be back open again? I know no one has a crystal ball, but any advice, or what is kind of your kind of foreseeable?
Yeah, I mean, nobody has that crystal ball, but from my feeling and listening to experts in our field, I think what we're starting to see now, in our country and around the world, is things to open up slowly, and I think we'll start to see that over the next month or two. I think that by the time that we get to July, if everything's continuing to improve, and we're optimistic about that, I think we'll start to see people traveling more first locally, domestically. So more trips that are driving. I think there'll be more nature trips, more trips where maybe going to beaches that are uncrowded, or to retreats. I think there's going to be more of a hunger for more for things that have helped guide people through this, for meditation, things that we've worked with life coaches. I expect to see more retreats, more spa type vacations. I think the key words are nature, Zen, relaxation, and just meditation. I think those sort of things, fitness, exercise. We brought Mikey and Trey, who you just interviewed, on several of our trips. So mind, body, spirit. I think that's really what I would look towards in the near future, and I think those are trends for the longer term too. I think by the time we get to July and August, we should have some clarity with regard to the bigger ships, how and when they're going to sail. I think in the beginning, expect that there'll be shorter cruises from Miami, maybe to the Caribbean, with Europe coming online later, maybe in like late August or September. Though Tahiti is expected right now to open up July. As I said, partly they're because they've been fortunate because they have not been really affected by this, and they sealed off their borders early. So I think expect to see travel resume slowly. I've seen messages from our mayor of Miami Beach that they expect over the next couple of weeks, restaurants, at least outdoor cafes, to begin to open and maybe 50% occupancy. But I do think for the next couple of months, especially, there'll be continued social distancing, people wearing masks, and I expect that to open up. I do expect too that they'll probably, as things start to open up in Europe this summer, I think it can be a great time to travel. There's going to be some amazing deals and specials out there. We're going to be looking at some destinations that are maybe a little closer to home, things in Mexico, things that are not long flights. We're going to be getting out a survey to our travelers that's been being conducted by the International Gay Lesbian Travel Association. I know I'll get it to you, Stephen, so you can get it out on Outclick, and we're getting it out on all our social media things. But it's really to learn. It's only a 2-minute survey, and it's already been filled out by 10,000 gay travelers around the world. And it's to learn how resilient are. We want to hear from everybody out there. When is it that you feel comfortable traveling? When you first travel, where would you like to go to? Again, we're all in this together, and so we have to listen to each other, and we're going to be guided in part by what we learned from that survey and from talking to our travelers.
And again, you're listening to the clients where they want to go. We have a question from, let me put it up here on the screen, Patrick Rogers, who is the pastor of the United Church of Christ, Fort Lauderdale, a dear friend of mine and one of our writers. Do you ever have Holy Land tours?
Well, hi, Patrick. Thank you for that question. That's a great question. And actually, we've done 2 trips to Israel and to Petra. And so we put those together. We are able to customize a trip to Israel, to the Holy Land. So I'd love to have a conversation with you about putting something together and customizing it for your group or any of your parishioners. So that would be our pleasure to talk to you and have that conversation.
Patrick is a good friend of mine. He would maybe be a good partner to work with, and he knows a lot of people. So that would be a good.
I mean, one of the hallmarks. I mean, we do partner with groups and organizations, and we've partnered with church groups before too. So yeah, we love to put together something that's customized for your group. So happy to do that.
Okay. If anybody else has any other questions, Craig is very knowledgeable on what's up and coming. Do you have the video playing somewhere else there, Craig? Maybe this may be the feedback. Make sure that it is.
Ralph, can you turn off that sound from that? Because we're getting feedback.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. There we go. Okay.
There we go. There we go. That was Arthur's across the desk. That was his idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I tried to tune that off earlier, but I guess it's just a little sound makes a big difference.
It does, yeah. Is there anything else we need to mention or let people know? Keeping abreast, your website, you're keeping that up to date as far as what's available. Is there anything else they need to know? Any other advice that we haven't touched on?
Well, just that we're open. We're at our office, here, and we are taking reservations. We're continuing to get reservations for 2021, inquiries for Tahiti. So if you have any travel dreams, if you're interested in one of our adventures coming up, we're going back to Antarctica next year. Just give us a call or shoot us an email, and we're here to serve you and to talk to you anytime. We'd love to get to meet you and hear your travel dreams. So anytime.
Now, how can your office is? Where is your office? This is fascinating.
We're on the heart of Lincoln Road. We're
on Lincoln Road, right there in Miami.
Road in Pennsylvania. Yes.
Yes, he is in one of the most beautiful places right there. How do they find you online? Because most people are going to be calling or online. How do they find you?
So we're at www.sourceevents.com. So you have everything there. And we're also on Facebook at Source Events. So either place, and you can send us a message through Facebook, through our website, instant chat, or you can give us a call or email.
That's great. They do a great job, and they take a lot of pride in their work. And you get to talk to real people when you call.
Yes.
And they will take care of you. So I can attest to that. So, well, Craig, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all the great advice and keeping us locked in on what's up and coming. I think once people are released, they will be ready to travel again and see the world again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stan, for everything you're doing and for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. For more information on us, go to outclick.com or text OCQ on your phones to 22828 to sign up for our email list. Get on Craig's email list. They send out great information about what's coming. But contact them and stay abreast and see the world. Absolutely see the world. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.